Well, howdy guys, and me and Peroni are as one. I'm on my first Peroni. Now, of course, you've all seen over quite a few years now, companies, organizations have appeased Femons to let them in there. Because Femons, let alone just the Femons, were saying they can do anything a man can do. And they didn't leave it at that, they said they could do it better. And they wanted to be in the military, in the combat sections. Now Femons have been in the military forever, but in the jobs they're suited for. And there's no way that most Femons could pass the physical. So they lowered the physical. In other words, lowered the standards. And they did exactly the same in the fire brigade. And to an extent, they did that in the police force as well. Of course, these positions are basically there as a last resort, or when the shit hits the fan, so to speak. But now they're much weaker than they used to be. They also quickly promoted these Femons, mostly just to fulfill a quota. And we've seen how disastrous that has been. But if Femons can do anything a man can do, and they can do it better, then why did they have to lower the standards? Why do all these trans win the races, win the sports, when they're playing against Femons? Well, it's just biology, really. Males in general are stronger than most females. They have more bone density than Femons do. They're bigger. They generally have bigger lung capacity. These are all facts, you can look them up. And of course, males are not so emotional as Femons are. And males generally fare better mentally, faced with high-stress conditions. No, I'm not saying that a lot of Femons can't do it. It's just that there's very, very few. And it's just all because Femons don't want to be outdone by males. For some reason, they think it's a competition. And the fact is that males are different than Femons, physically and mentally. You don't hear males going around complaining because they want to be able to get pregnant and they want to carry the child 9 months. Or they don't go around yelling, I want to have periods every month. Well, of course you don't. That would be silly. All this sort of equality has generally weakened those institutions. I don't see Femons fighting to try and get on the oil rigs. Mind you, if they hear about how much money they make, they might do. When's the last time you saw a Femon on the back of a garbage truck? I've never seen one. There was quite a few videos, actually, from Femons who actually were complaining. I know that's unusual. But they went in the army and they were put in combat. And they were badly injured. Maybe lost an arm or a hand or a leg. Or worse. And that's what they were moaning about. And yet those are the ones that wanted to be there, be in the combat zone. Femons weren't to be soldiers, carrying 30 to 40 pounds, in the local area and further afield over 100 pounds. And that's every day. And the army spends all that money training them, and all of a sudden they get pregnant. Not surprising being surrounded by men like that. Take a look at the UK police force. It's absolutely been inundated by Femons. Once the most respected police force in the world is now a laughing joke. When it was respected, the criminals were actually scared of the police. Even if the criminals were carrying a gun and the policeman wasn't. That's called strength. And strength is a deterrent. Femons have always been the breeders. And they probably always will be. Although they are working on the virtual womb. Males have always been the protectors. That is what nature intended. Anyway, that's what I think, guys, and Peroni also thinks that. You know, in Canada, you used to be able to take the bottles back and get some money, like a dime a bottle or something. They don't have that here in the UK. So I wonder what happens to these bottles. Gets recycled? Or does it really? Never know. Take it easy, fellas.